Hey, what's going on, everybody? Riley here again. I'm going to go over my trades from today. I didn't really have a good day of trading. Mondays usually are not my day. I ended up taking two trades today, both calls on NQ or QQQ options or QQQ calls. And both of them were losers, small losers, but nevertheless, my account is small as well. So I lost about 5% of my account today. So I'm just going to go ahead and get started with the uh, higher time frame market context. Okay. So, kind of obvious here. I mean, this is the all-time high on ES, and all-time high on NQ is quite a bit higher than that. You can see we're obviously relatively stronger on ES, closer to all-time highs. And where did we open up at? Yeah, we didn't have quite as steep of a sell-off on ES either. So overall, NQ was the relatively weaker future this morning. And for that reason, I would have looked for bearish setups over here and bullish over here. But there were kind of some conflicting setups. So I'll zoom in a bit and show you guys what I'm talking about. Go to the 15-minute. So, as you can see, this is actually a longer time frame setup. I'll go to the hour again. So, on NQ, the relatively weaker future, we were forming a descending wedge inside of stacked demand, and also right on top of this daily key level, super key level here, just to show you how important this key level is. You can see that we've been trading in this range for quite some time, and we have bounced here once, two, three, four, and now maybe even 5 times, multiple times. But it's this balanced range. I was pretty confident that having that key level there, along with this lower trend line, this is probably the furthest we would drop. But it's more likely inside all of this stacked demand that we were going to be moving back up. Just more odds in our favor, and also the descending wedge kind of gave me that additional confirmation I needed. So you could see that we had a bullish setup over here on the relatively weaker future, and a bearish setup here on the relatively stronger future. We had a pennant forming into supply. Both of these on the sell-off formed a lot of new unused supply above. So, I wasn't super confident in a large move today, but I did want to play a scalp of this descending wedge break to the upside. And I'll show you what my plan was for that. So this is something where I kind of need somebody else's help. I'm not sure. So if ES is relatively stronger, but I see a bullish setup on NQ and shorter time frame. Here, I'll show you real quick. Shorter time frame, NQ was actually stronger. And I mean, I trade on the shorter time frame, so that is what I was interested in. Let me see, I got this on 5 minutes. So you can see here on ES, we put in this high and kind of came down and then put in this high, a lower high, in this pennant inside supply. So that is, bearish. And then over here, pre-market, I'm going the wrong way. You can see that at the same time, you can see my cursors are synced up. We put in this high on NQ and then kind of came down. I mean, we were putting in other highs, of course, but kind of bigger picture. We put in, after this high here, we put in a higher high. You know what? Now that I'm looking at it, they are pretty, they're pretty even. But yeah, I'm just not entirely too sure. I wasn't able to completely judge shorter time frame which future was relatively stronger, but I guess seeing this high and us being able to put in that higher high, gave me the confirmation that I needed, even though we did the same thing over here. So they're basically the same, but this one is inside of demand. But anyway, I'll show you guys my plan for my trades today. I was looking to, since we had, I guess I should zoom out again real quick. Since we had this is the lower trend line. Here, I'm going to maximize this. Here on ES, this is like a weekly ascending wedge lower trend line. And we also had 4-hour demand below, even though it's used. We've been respecting this weekly trend line for a long time, so I expected us to bounce. And it's just higher quality whenever you're down here at this highly respected weekly trend line to look for bullish setups. But we had a pennant into supply, so I really was not interested in playing bullish on this unless we were able to break the pennant to the upside and just find really heavy buying. But still, we didn't have much range. Like I said, there was a lot of new supply above. But I also did not want to play puts because we have fresh demand, 4-hour used demand, pre-market lows, along with this lower trend line of the weekly ascending wedge. So I was looking to play calls on NQ. Why does it keep doing that, dude? Calls on NQ because unlike ES, we did have this bullish setup, and we had this bullish pre-market action where we that's not what I wanted. Where we came down, broke down below this daily key level, the balanced region, and then we came in and put in a higher low right before market open. So I was very confident, that we would have a nice move on this, which it looks like, it did happen higher time frame, but I am a scalper. So I want to catch the premium spikes, while retail is chasing right at market open or, shortly after. I usually trade 9:30 to 11 and see, if any setups trigger in that time, then I will play. But if not, then I'm not trading them. Okay, I want to speed this up a bit. Get on to the first trade. First trade I took literally right out of the market open. Probably the stupidest thing I could do, and I think I'm going to put that in my rules to not do that unless I have a valid stop loss, because my stop loss is what, I was panicking as soon as I pressed buy because I realized I don't have a valid stop loss. But anyway, so I'm looking over here at NQ, and I had these like little 15-minute supply zones marked out just from pre-market to see if we were able to have the strength to push up above. So obviously we did have the strength to push up above this one. So that was a little bit of additional confidence. And then we rallied up and broke through this upper trend line of the descending wedge inside demand. So I entered right here. I'm going to turn off this. I entered right here. Make this green. Right as we broke above the trend line, obviously premiums were very inflated here. We were moving all around, and then we broke through. I bought 22nd. I bought one call, 7 days till expiration, right here at the money, 20 seconds after market open. And then, I realized, oh shit, I don't have a stop loss. So, I was looking over here for some confluence, to see if we were able to, find buyers over here. This was the lower trend line of the pennant. So, I wanted to see us be able to hold, or buyers hold price above that upper trend line, and maybe we could bounce and break up to the upside. That didn't end up happening, but we did find a little bit of buyer support here. But nevertheless, we ended up coming all the way back down here after I bought, and I panic sold right here without having a stop loss. Funny enough, it did end up being a valid stop because that invalidates the probability or possibility of putting in a higher low. This is now a lower low, because we broke below this one. So it was technically a valid stop loss, but I didn't have it planned before and I panic sold. So I just think overall this was a very bad idea. Should not trade right at the market open anymore. I need a valid, usually I like a nice basing candle to have as my stop, and I like using 1 minute RBRs, DBRs, all of the continuation and reversal pattern entries, but mainly RBRs and DBDs for my entries, because then I can just put the stop, at the top or bottom of the basing candle, and that usually works out pretty well for momentum scalps. This one just completely screwed me over, and I was down $54, I think, like in 14 seconds. So, that affected me a little bit emotionally, but just have to stay calm as best you can. So then the second trade, I only took the 2 trades today. So we came back down and totally demolished this upper trend line and came back down and retested low of day. So this shows that there really aren't any buyers defending this area, obviously, because we just crushed through. And then, we came back up, literally barcode this morning, came back down, super low, found buyers, came up, went down, found buyers at, believe that, oh, never mind, I'm not quite sure. So we found buyers pretty close to this daily key level, the bottom of the basing area, and then pushed back up, struggled at VWAP, came back down to retest this upper trend line, and found, some buyers supporting there. And then we had this really nice basing candle. And, this is where I probably should not have entered, even though, I had a quote unquote valid entry, especially with the context that ES came down, tested this prior all-time high, daily / weekly key level. Then we found buyers, pushed back up, came back down, retested, found buyers again, and then we closed above this level twice, and also closed above the lower trend line of the pennant, and then pushed up. So, and then we came back down, retested, and closed above both of these. So that is like a very nice bullish confirmation for me. It was pretty obvious that there was some manipulation just from the size of these candles and how quickly they would move. Lots of volatility. So, it was a little bit scary. I probably should have just sat sidelined, especially because why am I playing calls for in demand over here? But there's a potential that we are just going to drop over here because we are riding the lower trend line of a pennant, not really getting any momentum to the upside, like to push up to break out of the top. Right at market open, we're just kind of struggling. Buyers are holding us up as best we can, but we weren't really making any progress. So, and especially we're up at supply. So there was not really the strongest setup over here, especially because I was betting on a DBR. I don't really like to do that. I like an RBR, ride the momentum instead of just having all these sellers put pressure on us and then bet on us bouncing. But anyway, so price came back down. We had this basing candle that closed above this trend line with all of these bullish confirmations. And I entered as soon as the basing candle closed, like I usually do. Make the screen. So I entered right at the end of this basing candle. Well, as it closed, so right here. But anyway, we came back down, retested, almost hit my stop, which was, see, this time I had a valid stop. It was the lower wick of that basing candle, which is what I normally do. Get rid of this supply here. Oops. So after I entered here, obviously this was a lower volume basing candle, and then we had a little volume increase and a nice push up to close above VWAP, which was very bullish. I really like this. And how we had this rocket ship technique. We came back down, retested, found more buyers, and pushed up. But the thing that I wanted, I'm looking at, hindsight is 2020. So we came down here and we had a lower volume basing candle, which is perfectly fine. That's what you want to see. But then on this push up, see how the volume is still pretty low? Look at the size of that candle. It's pretty comparable to, this one or this one. And both of those had higher volume. You can see this one is higher and this one's not a ton higher, but still higher nevertheless. This is not necessarily an anomaly, but this shows that there is some sort of manipulation. So I guess it is an anomaly, whatever. But especially on this next candle, if we look at this one, look at this volume, much higher than the last one. Yet the candle is much shorter, and we have this upper wick. So if there's all this buying pressure, why do we have this upper wick? That is because, well, I missed the supply zone up here. So this was distribution, and I should have, had this as my first target instead of low of day. That was my target on both trades, by the way. Yesterday, low of day. So I did have a target, just no stop on the first one. The second trade, I had a stop, valid entry, and a target. So I'm okay with this loss. But what I missed out on, because I don't chart 90-minute zones, was this 90-minute supply. Somebody said it in the chat shortly after it occurred. So right here, I'm just going to kind of half-ass it. Just put a rectangle there so you guys, come on now, so you guys can see it. Why is it not snapping? Come on. Okay. Okay, so now I'm going to go back down to the 1 minute, which I was trading on. And the 1 minute this morning, holy shit, dude, there was a lot of manipulation. Like, it's pretty obvious. I have a good eye, and I can kind of feel with my screen time now when manipulation is occurring. Here's an example. Like, literally within the first couple seconds of this, on the 1 minute, you'll see instant, like, manipulation. The first few seconds of the candle, they're going to paint the candle super big. on low volume just to kind of try to fake out. It's like basically a bear trap or a bull trap right on the first few seconds of the candle to mess with traders' emotions. So I pretty much ignore the first few seconds. But this one literally was just like, I mean, we were like really strong moving up here. But, I should have noticed this is manipulation, lower volume. Why are these candles so big? Increased volume. Why is this candle so small? And why does it have an upper wick with all this buying pressure? So those are two key signals that we were about to reverse here, and that we were inside of a supply zone that I didn't have marked. Sorry. Anyway, if I would have had the supply zone marked and I would have seen, this candle form, I mean, I might have missed that. I really need to work on my real-time VPA, especially on the 1 minute. Candles close so quickly and you got to react very quickly, so it's kind of difficult. But in hindsight, this just felt so fake, but I didn't know it was there. So basically this trade, it could have been a perfect scalp, up to supply here. I could have held it up to here. I probably would have seen price action like showing that sellers were present. And then I could have sold there instead of, waiting for this dump. And I think I actually, I might have stopped out like a tiny bit above. But once I saw us just power through this upper trend line, I knew that there were no buyers present anymore right here. And I had very low, I was not expecting us to stop here. There was so much manipulation, just like in this first trade. We came up, no buyers to support, just dumped like really quick. And then we went all the way back up really quick, all the way back down. Buyers slowly worked us back up. There was manipulation here. So I was not messing around. I think I stopped out. Oops. Right about, it was right around my stop. But, that I should have waited for my stop to trigger. But with this context and all the manipulation, I just didn't want to mess around. But so I wanted to, I really want, if you guys understand why these trades didn't work out, I would love to hear from you. My thought process is well, first of all, obvious manipulation. I should work on my VPA to see this happening, but we were balanced. We had a large drop very recently, so we're just balanced today. I think like all day now we've been balanced. Let me check real quick. That's not. Yeah, pretty balanced, right? We tested pre-market lows, but we're just staying within this range. We opened up right here, and we're like, we wicked up there. So we literally went pre-market lows back up to our open. So yeah, just not. And we also had earlier, the volume was pretty low. It's picked up now, but I want to get the the relative volume indicator eventually. Once I gain some profits, I'll pull out some money and buy that. But if you guys have any other suggestions or ideas why these trades didn't work out, I would really love to hear from you. And if you guys have any questions, let me know. Thank you for watching, and good luck trading tomorrow.